So if you get me things...
I'm Spencer.
I'm Rosie.
JD!
Eric's over here. He's going to be a little busy today. But we are... this is podcast number 106.
Woo!
Yay!
It's mid-August.
Yeah.
It's Magus.
It's Maugust.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Final Fantasy event. Or something.
Yeah. So side note, real quick, before we get into what games you played, I wanted to ask, are you getting Sonic Mania then?
How much is it?
I don't know.
Because there was 2 games I was thinking about getting.
That or what?
I was actually gonna get Divinity Original Sin 2, the early access.
Okay.
Oh.
Have fun. Then, no, I don't want you to get it. Eric, would you get Sonic Mania then? Okay, so I'll...
Maybe I'll get Sonic Mania.
No.
Put my 2 cents.
No! Anyway, so if Eric's gonna get Sonic Mania, I'll pick up Uncharted. And then there's Agents of Mayhem, which I might talk to my brother about getting.
It's not multiplayer, you know that, right?
It's not?
No.
No one's getting it then. I
Yeah.
guess we're SOL. Agent of Mayhem, pretty much.
Yeah, it was really weird, too. I was like, oh.
What have I been playing today? Or this week?
What have you been playing, JD?
I'm the first person to narrate myself into doing it. I think.
Narrate yourself.
Well, like bring myself into it. I'm my own gateway, damn it. I have been playing a just ungodly amount of Diablo 3.
Oh.
God, I can't tell you how
You
much.
playing the Necromancer?
My brother's been playing it. We've been playing it together. I have a what's it called with him, and I have a demon hunter with him, and I have a wizard with myself. Cause I'm a fucking killer.
Damn.
Killer kill.
Yeah.
Killer kill.
I've also been playing a little bit. I've played very little Tekken. I have not played any Final Fantasy, and a healthy amount of Overwatch. The summer games event is still going on, so we're trying to bathe it up in the sun, fam.
Yeah.
What you been playing?
No, actually, I want to ask you a little bit more about your Final Fantasy. Or not Final Fantasy. How you been enjoying the Diablo 3 Return?
It's fucking great. I grew up on Diablo, so going back to it, I'm just like, man, I feel so at home. I've actually beaten Diablo 3 like fucking probably like 10 times at this point.
Okay.
And it's a game that's meant to do that. And then I will constantly, go back and just do it again because there's a lot that game does right. It was a work in progress. Definitely when it first came out, fucking sucked dick. But they've done some good on it, and I can respect it for that. I also like the concept of new game pluses in games, depending on what they are. Going back to it and doing some of the old shit and like everything's harder and all that stuff is kind of cool. So.
Gotcha.
I can respect it. What you been playing?
I picked up, I've been picking up Pokemon Moon again. I'm currently banned from playing it on stream.
I wonder why.
It's such an addictive game. But Pokemon Moon, I picked up, actually, my first time ever picking up an early access game. This is why I actually want to pick up Divinity Original Sin 2. Is that I picked up Stellar Tactics, a $20 indie game. But space RPG.
Not all that stellar.
You don't know that. Don't say that. It's still early access.
Yeah.
But been playing that all week. It's been great. I love space RPGs. And that's been pretty much my entire week. What about you, Spencer?
I think you'd ever ask.
I was when you looked at me, I wasn't going to.
So I've been playing League of Legends. A little bit of Overwatch, which is uncharacteristic of me, but dabbling in it. And I played Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Senua's Sacrifice. And we have a lot to say about that game, but it won't be in this podcast.
A lot!
It might be after. Interesting.
Oh, I can't wait.
Interesting how that works out, right, JD? Interesting.
You know what else is interesting?
What?
People's opinions about it.
Yeah.
What?
The reviews are a little mixed.
What?
The reviews are a little mixed.
What?
I think he's...
Go on! Do that thing!
Well,
what?
Maybe because I'm in the way... What?
Lord Slug.
Oh.
Go on! Do that thing with your mouth! He hasn't released his grab, so I don't know if you're doing it! What? What? Anyway, keep going. It's stuff you wouldn't get. Anyway.
Anime. Go ahead.
Anime.
So it looks like when we pull up the reviews for Hellblade...
What?!
There are people that really like it, which
Yes.
I think would probably be me and JD. Would fall into that group.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's my favorite game, but I do like it.
Yes.
And then there are people that seem to really hate it, and they consider it a walking simulator.
The worst game or some shit.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting thing because one of the first things that we saw when we were looking at it was some.
That's why you do it beforehand, buddy.
Well, I'm new to this game. Some guys related it to being an artsy game.
Sure, I very much agree.
Well, why though? Why would you say it's artsy?
I think because a lot of the elements of the game wouldn't work in another game. It just works in this one specifically because it's going for a certain style and a certain message, a certain theme.
And I would say this. I would say that the game, even some of the gameplay, requires you to look at the environment, look at what your surroundings are, look at this, rather than.
I actually somewhat agree that it is a walking simulator too.
Hmm? But what I mean is like some even the puzzles in that game. It's just look at the environment.
Right.
And
I mean, that's puzzles.
Yeah, but I mean, it's literally.
How do I solve this? Huh? Well, here are the rules of the puzzle.
Well, you just got like literally like what's that? I don't want to spoil it. It's like what 8 hours or something. It's not a spoiler to say like you literally have to match up shapes in that game. So it has you looking like and then while you're looking around at the environment, you're like, wow, that's actually really nice looking. It's still not solved.
I consider that a puzzle. I didn't consider that necessarily
Well,
non-gaming.
maybe even artificial elongation, to be honest.
I don't think so. That'd be like saying a puzzle's artificial elongation.
Well, those are, but you're not considering it a puzzle. So what is it then?
I did consider it a puzzle.
What, the stuff that you're looking at?
Yeah.
I thought you said you didn't.
No, I do.
Didn't you just say you didn't?
No, when did I say that?
Rewind it, stream.
When did I say that?
Well,
look, the comments are just flowing in. Look at that, dude. Fix yourself. Moving on. Gosh, I can't believe I have to do this on stream. Anyway.
He hits me.
He hits me. But it's kind of like the artsy concept behind it is like, I guess it's something to be hated, right? Because it's clearly based on this guy's review. If you're looking for that hipster whatever thing, and I'm like, I would never.
I would put this as very much art and gaming.
I wouldn't consider it as a bad thing.
No.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
I wonder if people just had the wrong misconception of the game to begin with. Like maybe the marketing kind of showed it off as this kind of, I'm sorry, character action game. In which it does have elements of like character actions, and people are like, oh yeah, the sick combat, I can't wait to jump in there and just whoop like 1,000 demons. Was it like 12 or something like that? I don't know. I watched some of it, but
the fights I got in, they didn't seem to stop.
Right.
Leave me alone.
Not to mention, so maybe some of the marketing kind of
there was the intent.
Maybe because of the game name.
Right.
Maybe when you call something Hellblade, people have like a certain idea
expectation
of what they're getting when they get it. And
that could be true.
It definitely wasn't that game.
Right.
It was not that game at all. It was definitely more about the subtitle, which should be more the point. It should be Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade.
Yeah, there you go.
Makes more sense that way.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It definitely would.
But, I mean, at the end of the day, looking at sort of how the reviews went, we were kind of going through a couple of them, and people were calling it a walking simulator and automatically downvoting it. What's the deal with that?
I think walking simulators have a really negative connotation, and I get where it comes from, and I would halfway consider Hellblade. They should make a Hellblade game, but a Hellblade game.
They did. It was awful.
Oh, did they?
You did?
Oh, okay. PS2.
I think so. When did it come out?
Early PS3.
I think it's PS2.
But yeah, I would halfway consider it a walking simulator. I don't know. Maybe not, because the combat will stop you from progressing if you fail. But the combat isn't very difficult.
Is the combat, I would say, A, is the combat difficult, and B, is the combat just an obstacle in the way, or is it somewhat implemented in the story, like
it's
naturally?
Implemented in the story.
It is.
It's definitely in the story. I don't know. People have a really negative idea about or connotation going along with walking simulators.
Yeah,
and
usually that's all you can do.
There's some bad examples of them. But Beyond Eyes. I reviewed that one 2 years ago.
And you're beyond it.
I'm way beyond it. That game was horrible. It had good ideas, but just the execution was...
But wasn't there good games? Like, Everyone's Going to the Rapture?
Which just got re-released, I think.
Yeah.
It was good. It wasn't...
I never played it.
I heard
it wasn't...
It was more about a social commentary, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, but it had a story. So again, it's a game where if you just want the story, that's all you're getting out of it.
Yeah,
There's
but it isn't a walking simulator.
Right, that would be a walking simulator.
Yeah,
like,
but
in its purest form.
And I feel like people were very positive about it. Didn't Gone Home get like
I got a problem.
Gone Home divides.
Gone's
I got
divided?
a problem with Gone Home.
I have problems with it too.
Oh, okay.
I'm just like, ish.
Sorry, I'm just kind of naming some
Yeah,
walking
it's good.
simulators.
I wanted
Just
to
so,
read a book. That's where I draw the disconnect for that.
I don't see that as. I don't see it as a bad thing. Like you can make a good walking simulator.
Well, this the thing is, it's really hard because you gotta look at it in the sense of like, I disapprove of Gone Home, but I'm okay with Telltale.
I was just gonna bring them up.
Yeah, and not every Telltale. Like I don't know if I'd like Tales from the Borderlands, but apparently Batman's good. I know Walking Dead is good. At least season 1, season 2's a build up of season 1. Season 3 currently going on right now is the last season.
season 3 is over.
Well,
Like,
I mean, it's the last season of their Walking Dead journey. Wait, shit.
There's a part 4 coming.
They said it was the last one.
No, at the end of Walking Dead season 3, it literally said Clementine's story will continue.
In our books.
No,
In our books,
that'd
it
be weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry.
All right, well, they're making more. Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless, the sort of mixture between those two or the differences between those two are pretty much like sort of non-existent.
Well,
I mean,
if
if
you
you-
player choice.
I mean, yeah, there's more of an emphasis on player choice, but at the same time, interaction is limited to a few predetermined angles where shit that's going to happen in story is always going to happen in a story. It's just about how you get there. I'm going to get home. It's just about which exit I take on the freeway, pretty much, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the thing about that's kind of interesting is I think the first person aspect of it too fucks up that journey, I guess you could say. Like Gone Home.
For Gone Home?
Well, I mean, if I'm comparing just those two, from Gone Home, it's a character that is just apparently supposed to be you, right? And the game requires you to connect with the player character more.
Right.
Whereas if I'm playing as, what's his name, and I've got to take care of little Clementine, if I'm talking about season 1, he's got his own stuff. I'm just in the middle of it. I've literally got dropped off into the middle of it, and I'm just like, damn, do I do this or do I not? You still have that sense of reflecting with the character. It just doesn't require too much of you to actually have some sort of spiritual connection with them.
It's more about the decisions you make in that game.
More about the decision.
Well, I guess when I hear people bashing walking simulators, I don't like the idea that somebody would say something is bad because it's a certain genre.
And I think that's one of the things. Do they label these games as walking simulators?
No.
So, I think that's maybe one of the problems.
They call them adventure, right? It's adventure.
It'd be like adventure.
Right.
Story-based, story-driven,
Steam,
or something.
Steam has walking simulator as a category.
Do they really?
Well, I mean, it may be
'cause
part
that
of the
sounds like the right
solution to some of the like people getting.
But there's nothing inherently wrong with a walking simulator.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that maybe people are, like I said, getting misconceptions of these games. But like, oh, this game looks awesome. I can't wait to play. It's a walking simulator. I'm not doing any actions. What's that game with the cat people that just came out? The Long Dark in the
been out for a
Woods.
Long Dark?
No, not Long Dark.
That's probably
Night in the Woods.
Night in the Woods. Okay.
That's a walking simulator that a lot of people thought it was like an adventure game because you literally have like these platforming, like she jumps around, has these platform big stages, but it's just I would consider that a walking simulator.
It's holding forward or something. They do the jumping for you, or
No, you do jumping and all that, but I thought it was gonna be a platformer. Ends up just being kind of like this character's story in the game, just like social construct in the game.
well, I think once you narrow down a walking simulator to its base core, you're saying that you don't like it because it has no gameplay
Or limited.
limited.
Because you're still interacting. There's still the gameplay that's there. It's just...
Well, I would counter it with the one that we said was pretty good.
What?
What was it? The Everyone's Gone to the Rapture?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one, you don't even touch things. You don't open doors. Well, maybe open doors.
You literally just walk through.
You literally just walk and there's a light that guides you and you just follow it around. So there's no even like element of gameplay. It's just where does light going? Okay, I'll just follow it. So I mean, is it a negative that there's no gameplay? I mean, I guess in a game it is, but if you don't care, like if you just want to learn a story or something, then should we really hold that against people for wanting that? Because people want Telltales. So.
Well, I would say that, and that's the reason why I haven't gotten season 2 of Walking Dead and all that other stuff, and all these other ones like Game of Thrones, whatever, which I should be supposedly getting into. It's because the thing is you're not playing to the strengths of the medium, the way I see it. If I'm looking at a game that's like Gone to the Rapture or something like that, if I found out before coming in that there's no interaction outside of just me opening doors and just walking through an area, I wouldn't play that game. I haven't played that game. I would not play Gone Home. I would not play. There's another blind game too where you're like blind and you have to use literally like echolocation or whatever. I can't say the word.
Beyond Eyes.
No, there's another one.
There's another one?
Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like, I want to be blind again.
Well, I think Beyond Eyes was funny because it was still vision.
You could still see.
Like the sounds would create vision. So it was still eyes.
Yeah. No, it's the same concept. The closer you are, that you start to pick stuff up. It's weird. And I'm like, why would I want another one? Though?
You know what would be a kind of good game? And it would probably pick up really well now? A Daredevil game. Like a PSVR Daredevil.
I have no interest in playing him. I'll stick to just the Netflix. I have no interest in playing a game with him in it.
So if what would make Hellblade a walking simulator?
Because limiting gameplay.
The what?
Limiting gameplay.
What do you mean?
So the point that I was trying to make was that complexity, limiting the strength of the medium, which is interactivity, creates that sense of a lack of fulfillment. It's like reading a book that only has like a sentence in a page, and you're a seasoned reader. You're like, well, you can put so much more. You can expand the story, or just not even explaining where you are, just going, he said, she said, he said, she said. You're not using the strengths of the medium, or a movie that, I mean, granted, people do it, but you have a movie that doesn't have sound, right? And that's a lot of movies. For instance, say it's just all over the place, and it's its own genre. Not silent movies, not, obviously that exists, but let's just say a modern movie comes out that's like that.
When you say no sound, you mean no sound at all, or no music, or?
Let's just say no sound at all.
Okay, no sound.
For instance, or you know what? No, that's a better example. Would be just still pictures, time and time again. That's it. Which movies are, but let's just say the frame rate is garbage, for instance.
Oh, like The Hobbit.
Hey, didn't really say
Shots
that
fired.
one. Let's just say it's
48
like
FPS.
let's just say it's like 10 frames.
Okay.
In like a frame a minute or something like that. You're not using the medium to its full potential,
okay,
or how it should be. That's where I'd say there's a discrepancy, because and I actually did have this discussion with my brother yesterday about other stuff, but the same principle applies. Is if there's minimal depth, like I like to believe that when a game is good, all aspects of it are equal. Right? Like when I was playing through Hellblade, I felt that way. Like I was like, the combat's okay.
I don't know if I'd feel that way.
Well, hold on. The combat's okay. The exploration, I like the worlds. They're very like creative and sort of like what's going on keeps you moving forward. Though. Very limited, but well, it's okay. Some game you can have a linear game. Every game at the end of the day is linear.
Yeah.
Because you're always on a path, no matter what.
Here's the thing though. So if you take that concept, but like a Naughty Dog game does these really well, where it's linear, but you don't quite know it. Like you wouldn't quite, if you're just like a regular player, just kind of going through, you'd almost think it's like open,
right?
Because of how there's a lot of pathways and stuff, but it all comes back.
Right. Actually,
it's all a straight line.
Okay.
When you honestly think about it, Fallout games, Bethesda games are the same way.
Yeah, there's the main scenario.
No, yes, because even though they're open world, you still have a single objective that you have to get to. You have to talk to this same person.
I guess. Well,
no matter.
I'll disagree with you on that.
Okay,
but I'll say that they feel like that.
What do you mean?
Like The Last of Us would feel like Fallout, because it's like you need to go do this, so you're going towards the target, and there's kind of branching ways to get there, but they're all kind of the same thrust. Whereas Fallout, Yeah, there's like your target's over there on the mini map that they've labeled for you. You have to walk there, but you can still break it and go do something else.
But no matter what, at the end of the day, if you want to complete the objective, you have to go back there. You have to get to that single target on the mini map, like you said.
Yeah, but you can totally break it. That's the open world part of it.
How?
By just not doing it.
You're not necessarily breaking it, more as delaying it, because you still do have to do it.
Yeah. But that's what makes it open world, and that's the difference.
So
like The Last of Us, you need to go get Ellie, pick her up, and save her from a shark or something.
Right.
I've played The Last of Us, but since she's getting eaten by a shark, you can't be like
ignore it.
All right, I think I want to go see if there's a raider nearby and see what he's up to. You can't do that, and that's what makes it a single player thrust, like not a walking simulator, but you know what I mean. Like, you need to just go the path that they've given you and experience that.
Okay. Yeah.
So if that's your take on Fallout, then the exact inverse of that is what people define as the walking simulator. No real option, no real choice.
Right.
The direction you have to go is that. And I can see how a lot of people would view that as boring, but I don't think it's just the direction that does it. I think it's the gameplay overall mixed with that concept.
And can we go back to the difference between The Walking Dead and walking simulators? Walking simulators tend to be a journey of this character, in which if you have no sympathy or like connection with that character, you are disinterested in that game, in the walking simulator itself. As in most of like the Walking Dead games, adventure games, you have a decision, you have puzzles, you have something to do, an action, or just like a decision that you can make. So then you're like, okay, maybe this game isn't about maybe the journey itself, but how I interact with it. How do I deal with it? So maybe with like Hellblade, just in particular, maybe people weren't into that. Just the whole story. I'm sorry, I saw some of the streams, but can someone generalize the story of what it's about?
Really? Not without spoiling it.
Okay. Dealing with mental disorder. That's all I can say.
So
I almost feel like that spoiled it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that spoils it really.
Well, all right,
because they say it at the beginning.
Oh, if they say it within the first 10 minutes,
mentioned even on the back, dude.
I know, but
it's on the
How's
cover.
That come on, man. It's like Meryl's code.
Here's why I would say that, because when you hear those voices and you're in like hell or Helheim, you know, they're the same thing. But when you're in Helheim,
well, no, they're not. Helheim's the continent. Hell's the actual what's called.
All right, but so when you're in a place like that and you're hearing voices in your head, and they're like, you have a disease where you hear voices. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of playing with.
It was marketed that way. That's why I knew going in that's what it was about.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Maybe.
So, but
like I was saying though, like since it's her journey, you don't make any decisions in that game, right? You don't
block,
change. You
attack.
Don't. No, I'm saying. Well, yeah, decide whether you're gonna block that attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's pretty.
You're just following this lady's journey.
Yeah, you're just following her journey.
Right. And then what if it's a game about mental disorder? Maybe someone who has no affiliation, no connection, no nothing about it, doesn't may hate it for that same reason. Maybe they don't like the journey.
Have anyone that
I know, but I mean, maybe they won't. Maybe they don't enjoy the journey. Is what I'm saying.
Well, then I have to ask the question: what's the difference between that and Uncharted? Because when you walk into a room that's circular, what do you think? You're probably getting into a fight, right? Fight scene plays out, gameplay changes. If I'm playing Uncharted, oh, that's a lot of waist-high objects over there. What's gonna happen here? Or if I get into
Gears of War is the worst offender on that.
Well, yes, Gears of War is the worst, and they're being punished accordingly. But when it comes to, say, Uncharted, for instance, and I'm using Uncharted because I'm looking at it in the sense of how I respect the game, but it still does do those similar things, where there's a segment with puzzles, there's going to be a segment with a little bit more dialogue, a little bit of talking, probably an action set piece. They literally created that and added that into there. They didn't create it themselves, but I'm saying they use it a lot.
You know what I think it might be? It might be the exploration.
People don't like to explore?
I think they do. Okay. I think Hellblade was pretty limiting and like it would block you even from going into like a flower bush. Whereas
You don't want to go there.
Whereas a game like Tomb Raider or Uncharted, you can climb stuff, and even those are pretty much straightforward paths because they're basically like here's a ledge, here's a ledge, here's a ledge, here's a ledge. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna hop this way, and it's really kind of just walking.
So a game is, by that assumption, or not assumption, but if we're looking at it like that, a game is technically better based on the illusion of the choice it provides.
Illusion of choice.
Yeah. So I mean, I know people that the world didn't feel alive kind of mentality. I felt like Hellblade's world was empty, but there was a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like especially one of my favorite scenes is before the when you I can't even say that. When you open the big door, you go through and then it's raining and all that other stuff. Just beautiful visually, and then having that fight in that area, I was intrigued. I was like, all right, I guess I got to beat the game now, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's because I was just like, I go through a fireplace, I go through a dark place, and then I get to that place, I'm like, cool, this stuff's like, everything's like wrecking up all around me and stuff. And that was a neat little area for me, but it always felt empty. And you're right, the exploration is incredibly limited in that regard, where your reward is lore at the end of the day. You're getting a guy talking to you about, well, let me tell you about Thor, you know? Let me tell you about these other motherfuckers, you know? And but I mean, the neat thing about it is, I don't know if you know this, but when you would travel to the different areas, the lore was reflective of that area, and it was only the story that you could get was in that area. So I guess if it's an interesting lore story, that might encourage you, because I did that for, I forgot which one I did that for, like the Loki story, where he like tricked to like one of the gods to getting killed or whatever at some banquet. I was like, oh, what happens next? You know? Yeah, and I was tuning in, but the reward probably wasn't enough though to explore. And then if we're pulling that back, the exploration being limited as it was, then it becomes a question of like, and I think some people mean to say this too, is your character doesn't move that fast.
No.
Your character, if you go the wrong way, fuck.
I did that. Towards the end of the game.
Oh, really?
I went all the way back, and the game kind of tells you that you're not doing it, ironically, by not telling you. You know the voices?
They go away.
They just go away.
Yeah.
Because like, they have nothing to say. You're like, oh, nobody's talking.
Because they're slapping their...
Yeah, like, oh, you idiot.
She's so dumb.
But even that is potentially damning or potentially a good thing, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be told, like, if you're like, I want to play Fallout, well, you can go wherever the hell you want. Like, there's no reason to not go wherever you want. Whereas this game, it's like, you need to go that way. But this game doesn't also tell you to go that way, but like, good game design will get you in the right direction.
Certain things get highlighted, yeah. I mean, that's why I like Uncharted so much. You always, 4, it falls off, but 2 and 3, you're like, oh, you got a general idea where to go because the level opens up. Things start to look better. Your eye naturally gravitates to that area.
You
and they did an amazing job.
Lantern.
Yeah. Go here. Go here. But I mean, I would say if we're comparing, going back to our original topic of like, why do these people look at it as a walking simulator? I don't like that concept of game design. I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's lazy because there's an emphasis on storytelling on it, granted. But games are more than that. They're about gameplay at the end of the day. And if you're sort of getting rid of a majority of that, then you're catering to a different audience that, and the only reason why I've been so adamant about this is because my, I don't know if I can even say it, my old teacher, these are the games that she would play.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, well, you know, have you played, I don't know, Dark Souls? Which, you know, in itself was a testament to what it can do. I'm like even Undertale even. Have you played Undertale? It's an easy game. You can probably play it on your PC. Nope. And I'm like, you haven't played these amazing games, but you're going to tell me about
She's not going to beat them.
Yeah. You're going to tell, oh, I couldn't, this game was so scary. Oh, what's the game called? The Suffering. That game was not even supposed to be scary. It just has scary imagery. Like, what the fuck? You know? And to me, when I hear about like walking simulators and things like that, I look at people that don't create games in the traditional sense, and then they go, well, the game should play like this, but they don't understand what a game truly is. You didn't truly grow up with it. You just came to the party when everything was getting good, is the way I see it. So, well, from her perspective, but as a, looking at just other people, I just go, well, there's more, and you have to really appreciate when there is more to know why it can be a letdown to some people. Not just slapping a label on it, just actually going through and being like, nothing happened, If it,
I'm okay with people not liking Hellblade.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Actually, it's great to know there's a game that's not for everybody.
Well, it's always going to be every game, isn't it?
Well, no, because games are made in committees. Everything's made in committees nowadays. Movies, everything's made in committees. You say, how can we make this appeal to as many people as possible? How can we make Overwatch, for better or for worse, Overwatch will be for better. How can we make it appeal to everybody? We get these bright characters so kids can get into it.
I've got their own themes.
Good shooting, so
great character design.
Into it. Yeah. It's made for everybody. Right. So Overwatch, I would argue, is the opposite of Hellblade, where most people generally like it, or at least acknowledge that it's good.
Like a character or something.
Yeah, they're like, Lucio's cool. Like
he's black like me.
I identify with Lucio.
I identify with fucking Orisa, because I'm a robot on the inside too. Yeah, Black Lucio.
Whereas, again, a game like Hellblade would be very... this game has some certain things that you probably don't like. And it was made by 15 people who probably didn't... Right? 15?
14 or 16. It's an even number.
Sorry. It was 14 or 16. I was wrong.
Well, someone else got it wrong that was like dying of this game. I was like, it was not 12, you idiot.
Yeah.
But, and you even had people double dipping. In role-wise, the video editor was Senua.
Yeah.
First time acting.
He did a phenomenal job.
Very good job.
But we'll get into that more later when we do our thing. But yeah, I think walking simulators kind of err on the side of non-gamers. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Okay.
Would you?
I
mean that in the least harsh way.
I mean, it's like people that look at gaming from the standpoint of people that probably can't sit down, play it for an extended period of time and go, I'm going to do this again tomorrow. Well, I guess that's the way I'd put it.
I would think, well, not even that. Like, people who appreciate more of the lore of the games than actual playing the game themselves. Because there's a lot of people who may not be adept at playing like a DMC, but like, I love Dante.
I mean, that's why we do Why We Love, right? Got it. It's because why I was so excited to do Bloodborne, because I know Spencer would love it. Mm-hmm. He can't,
He can't.
Well, he could play it. Spencer could absolutely play it and beat it. It's just a matter of investing so much time into it.
Take me a minute.
Yeah.
To beat that one.
I think anyone's capable, like, I'm capable of being a fucking champion of
League of Legends.
Magic.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. But I have neither the time nor the interest.
Or the money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's let's go versions. Hearthstone, better example. Hearthstone. Yeah. Right? I could be a fucking just murderer at that game. Mm-hmm. But I don't have the intent to do that, But that's why we do that series. But pulling back from that is if we have these like worlds and these games that sort of, I guess you could say alienate the audience or demand specific things from you as a player, I think that's par for the course. That's the medium. You don't have to be the most dexterous player to beat Wolfenstein on easy mode. You're still getting the same experience. And you know what? Especially back then, games would be like, beat it on hard difficulty, get the crazy ending. Max Payne 2 is a great example. I'm not going to spoil it because you guys haven't. I technically haven't played it. But, I 1 and straight to 3. I didn't get 2 at the time. My dad didn't want me to get it. So, thanks, dude.
Where is he?
I don't know. He ghosted on me. His dust trail's still around.
Big pack of cigarettes.
Well, he didn't smoke. He just drank and beat me. I'm kidding.
Oh, Jesus
No,
Christ.
my mom smoked. My dad drank. So they have their own vices, and it carried over to me and my brother. I drank. He smokes. So
tell me more, Jim.
Anyway,
can we change it? So walking simulators, man.
I really don't care. But anyway, it's a part of the medium. And the proper accessibility is something you as a player should look to finding. You shouldn't harp on something else just because it's, it only allows you to walk forward if at the end of the day you're into that. Or harp on someone else because they're into that. I personally can't see it as something that I'm interested in, and I don't know if I really like the concept. But if someone's gonna like Gone Home and Gone to the Rapture, that's fine. Go ahead, but don't tell me that that's a better narrative experience than say something that implores more
without having played it.
Without having played it, or without having played it. I saw this a couple times when I was looking up the music for what's it called. People were talking about when I was here last week. People were going, "It's a better narrative experience than Last of Us," and I'm like, "Well, I didn't play Last of Us."
What is it?
Senua. I was like, I had fun with Senua, but I might have had a little bit more fun, just a little bit, on what's it called, and maybe related to the characters a little bit more. The journey's definitely longer, so it's got that going for it. But we're getting off topic. Pulling back, that's my opinion. I think as a gamer, you need to find which level of accessibility is acceptable to you. I like hard shit, so I'm gonna stick with hard shit. That's just me. So. I don't know about you guys.
I don't know. It got me thinking about what makes because you. It's like if you pull up a different genre than you're used to or than you specifically like, it begs that question of what makes this good or bad, especially if I don't like it.
Yeah.
So if I don't like sports games, right? I don't like them. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, you.
I'm not going to review one.
You do.
I'm not going to review a sports game.
Yeah.
But there are sports games that I like. And then from my perspective, what makes them good?
Right. But at least you delve into them and actually figure out what do I like. Some of these people don't even touch the other side of the spectrum. They're like, I don't think this is a good game.
Dota sucks!
Yeah, how many games do you play? Not one. It's just I'm a League of Legends player and I don't like Dota.
Smash 4 is for pussies. What do you play? Marvel 2, which isn't even in tournaments anymore. You know, like shit like that. And it's just like, come on, man.
So I think it's important that if you're gonna review a game that you're calling a walking simulator, it's fair to not like it, but you have to like tell me why it's bad.
Yeah.
Even if the reasons are just like pretty broad.
Right.
If you just don't like those things, then it's fine. But don't just say like it sucks because it's Madden. Like I'll never say that because
at least walk around learning about yourself.
Yeah,
at the very least.
I don't like this game because it's a walking simulator and it's this bit of lore that I've never been interested in. At least that's an excuse.
Yeah, at least you don't like the lore. Okay.
Right. I would petition to say write up why you don't like it.
Right.
Well, if you're gonna post it online, then absolutely.
Well, I mean, you're already doing it at that point. But like, you ever do that where you just get your thoughts in order and just write about it? And I know you have for the next video. But if you look at that and you do that for a bad game, like I've always wondered, I'd have to play it again. I don't want to, but going back to Van Helsing,
yeah, that
playing
was the one game.
And just going, why don't I like
nicest reviewer you'll ever find. You have the most sympathy for everybody that makes games.
Fuck that game. And then especially, I'm playing Diablo so much now that if I went back to that game, I'd just throw my Xbox. I don't even use my Xbox anymore, so I just use it as a paperweight. Throw it, shit. Break my window.
Check out the window.
But
what's up, Kevin Smith?
What up, Kevin? The chat's not even popping up, so I don't even know if people saying hi.
He's the only one that said anything. Jesus is a baby killer. That's a bummer.
Fitting because we're talking about Hellblade.
Are we good about that subject?
Yeah, we can move on.
Because I got something to say, folks.
All right.
I want to petition something to you.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can. It might still work using that. Let's use something else. I want you to imagine for 1 second. League is not as popular as it was.
Imagine if you will.
If you will.
That's Rod Serling.
Good for him.
Twilight Zone.
Great.
Good job, man. That was good.
Isn't he dead? So.
Was it a good impression? I think it was.
I said it was good.
Go ahead.
League, Dota, MOBAs are not popular, right?
Okay.
Let's just say.
So it's like 8 years ago.
Okay, but no, alternate reality. Because here's why. They're all played in one grand event, right? There's a couple other tournaments.
So there's only one game or one event?
One event, one major event. There's a bunch of smaller events and all that stuff.
Okay.
The games being played and whatnot. You play League still. Let's just say you play Dota.
Okay.
Okay. Now you shit on him for playing League. He shits on you for playing Dota.
Okay.
For the games are made the same way, right? You're like, oh God, man, League, you can do so much more. Dota's like easy man, or well, I mean, you'd say that for Heroes of the Storm. You'd say Dota's a different breed. I don't like this. I don't like it. I don't like be about it.
You don't even play Dota, so how can you even talk shit? I'm just going with the story.
Oh, we're going with the story.
Yeah.
Because I have played both.
Yeah. I just want to
Anyway,
add some more.
looking at all that stuff and keeping all that in mind, my question is this: when you do that, what would be your intent? Like, I know people do it now.
Right? People are competitive.
Because people are competitive. Because they want like
people will talk to each other, and their only conversations, like at work, because I work in an office, their only conversations with other people are, "Your Giants lost last night."
yeah,
Right.
very
Yeah.
true. On the team you don't play and the team I don't play with,
Right.
but they're mine, and they lost. And right, so there's that competitive edge, especially in. It's good that you mentioned football because. Football, in that case, baseball, basketball, these are giants at this point in the industry. These are things that we get home with. Hey, you want to watch the game? They cause traffic jams all around the 101 because these motherfuckers got to play their games right as soon as you get off work. And, you know, on a weekday, like a fucking Monday or, I don't know, sucks. But keeping all that in mind, keeping all that shit in mind, outside of it being competitive, do you think it serves a purpose? Or do you think it's really doing
It's
anything?
just bragging rights.
It's just bragging?
Yeah.
Think about like religion. Like if you want to get really deep and gross into it, like in the past history, you have groups of people that go to another place and convert.
Right.
And there's an in your heart and somewhere in your body, there's a will to get people to think the way you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're right. On your opinion,
or confirmation bias.
Yeah,
what I did was the right thing.
It's the right thing because now everyone's going to do it. So I'm right.
Okay, so let me expand this out because this was actually the discussion I had with my brother. Called my brother. We talking about the show, and I made the mention about the discussion you and I had about fighting games. And one of the things that we had mentioned, or that he mentioned, that I went on a tangent about was Marvel. Marvel's game is not out. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite drops next month, September or something. I'm going to get it because I'm a fighting game guy, right? I do a lot of that shit. So I'm picking that up, and he's picking that up. And then we started talking about how some people are hating on it still and all that shit. And I was like, I actually watched a couple videos of it. Like, it doesn't really look that bad, and I really don't care. It's not like, it doesn't look... There's still what you and I talked about King of Fighters. There's still that game feel that's there.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, it's there. And that kind of brought up an interesting point was people are hating on Marvel, but are praising Dragon Ball Dragon Ball Fighters, right? It's like, man, look at how this game fucking looks. You see the graphics, it's true to form, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But that's an interesting question that I brought up to him. And what I said was, does anyone who's talking about Dragon Ball FighterZ being amazing even know the control scheme for it?
Nope. Because everyone will make an opinion based on how it looks.
Right.
Right out the bat.
Well, it goes deeper to that, and it's negative, but keep going.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's actually all I was going to bring. It was because people will make it, just people, so when they saw Dragon Ball... But when they saw Dragon Ball... when we saw Dragon Ball Fight, they're like, wow, this looks amazing. It
looks like DBZ.
It looks like an actual DBC episode.
Right.
And when you looked at...
Goku,
and what was the biggest complaint when Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite...
Character models.
What is wrong with Chun-Li's face?
Right. Character models,
Yeah, wow, I just want to do something specific. Character models.
Okay.
And so a lot of the comments weren't even about like the gameplay itself. It was just talking about like, man, this looks like crap. This looks like bad. What's with the background? They were just looking at the visuals.
Right.
So, no, go ahead.
They made the decision based off the visuals.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I was gonna say.
So I also mentioned, I was like, does anyone even know how many bars that you can have in Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball FighterZ? No. Does anyone know how the fights are supposed to play out? No. You have how other people play.
Just playing a little devil's advocate here.
What's up?
Is it not possible to see some of the mechanics?
To an extent, but seeing isn't how they actually play out. A good example is like to really get into a fighter, for instance, you can see it for Tekken, for instance. You saw a couple fights, right? Mm-hmm. With Tekken, did you know that one of the mechanics to increase, or the purpose of the game really at this point, is counter hits or juggles? Or it's a big factor in fighting. You want to get them in the air so you have pretty much
Free range.
confirmed damage that you can do to them, and it's usually big.
I've noticed the juggle stuff.
Yeah. So did you know how the juggles operate though? You've probably seen it, but do you know what it means though? So, and that's a big important thing is if I juggle you and you land a certain way, maybe you see it and you go, oh, he's just comboing him. But if I'm playing it, I'm going, I knocked him into this move where I can't do any high attacks to him. I have to do mid attacks to keep my combo going type stuff. That's what that means, and feeling that stuff out is important. People may look at the Daigo moment, or the Evo moment, 34, with him parrying, as being like, oh, hey, that's really cool. But do you know what it actually means? And playing it and doing it, completely different. Right. I'm talking, I believe it's 1/6 of or a tenth, whatever. Whatever of a frame, and you're parrying every single time. In a tournament setting, with perfect execution, already knowing how to counter this, already knowing what to do, being prepared for it. All that stuff's very important, right, as a fighting game. And you don't see that as a spectator. Unless you've played it, fighting games can be very limiting to people. Right. But my point, what I'm actually trying to get over to is, when I'm looking at all this hate and all this, like, people talking about how Marvel's garbage, I go, why are people complaining about this game? And they go, well, Capcom and its shady practices. I'm like, if Street Fighter never was created again, because honestly speaking, when Street Fighter V was coming out, everyone's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then it came out and people were like, okay, cool. Oh, there's no game modes though. Which never bothered a fighter or a fighting game, really. That was a mainstream audience complaint. It was never a what's called, and honestly speaking, whatever. Anyway, but when people are complaining about that and they go, suddenly Capcom's shitty. Suddenly they're bad, they're awful, they're this, that, and the third, right?
I didn't even know that was a thing until like half a year to a year after its release. I thought people loved it. I thought everybody loved it.
I had fun with it, and I mean, it's not amazing, but the only reason why I say that now is because I don't have a character that I'm absolutely just like, I need to play this character, and that's how I get with fighters. I'm gonna try a bunch of characters, but there's always that one that sticks out to you, But my point that I'm trying to make is, when people are making all these complaints and they're complaining or whatever, the FGC is a very exclusive community. Like, you sort of have to, like, if you're getting into it, you have to be halfway decent at a fighter to really have a presence. Otherwise you're just an average Joe that loses in pools. Right. And as you're complaining about these games and going, oh, it's shit, it's bad, what if they don't get made? What if that game doesn't come out again? That fighting game. Because fighting games are different from shooters. They're different from RPGs. They're
actually a smaller, smaller
pool of games to choose from. Yeah. When a fighter comes out, between Tekken Tag and Tekken 7, which, I mean, Tekken Tag 2, people wouldn't even consider like an actual true sequel because it had its own problems. But if we're gonna do Tekken 6 to 7, I think it was like 8 or 9 years difference. Street Fighter 3 and 4, I believe, was 10 years. Or close to it, or 9. Because I think it came out, Third Strike came out in like 99 or 90.
Third Strike came out in 98, I thought.
Yeah, so, and then Street Fighter 4 comes out in 2007.
And I wanted to bring something up with that Street Fighter 4, is that when Street Fighter 4 came out, that's when fighting games were at a dead point in that general.
No one really played them.
Yeah, no one really played them. No one's talking about them. Street Fighter 4 comes out. Everyone's like, holy shit, fighting games are back.
Yeah, and then you started getting influx. I mean, there was other games too, like Guilty Gear and stuff like that. They just didn't have the same impact.
Right.
But by association are being made popular and stuff like that. But with you talking all this shit to the company, oh man, you guys are garbage, you guys are this. Imagine if they pulled back that IP. Like the FGC and the communities, the fighting game communities or develop teams that work with them work so close with the community that you don't really see that too much with other games. You do see it, right? Like you'll see it with like Blizzard because they want to work with, to make sure that their game is playing well. Or I'm sure League, same way, right? Maybe. Yeah. But that's not every company. Sometimes people release shit and they go, fucking deal with it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. And that becomes a problem with...
They did that with League once.
It probably didn't blow over so well. Because they're probably used to a different way of communicating with that develop team. And that's like my thing is like people are complaining so much and spending so much time. You're complaining about a fighter and you're a fighting game player at a fighting game tournament, or maybe you frequent the tournaments or whatever the case is. I just can't stop looking at whatever she's trying. I don't know if she's trying to lick her butthole or what. But anyway, with you're essentially biting the hand that feeds you is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And only in like the FGC are people so stupid to do that. Because the same reason why people like DBZ Fighters is the same reason why they're hating on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. They're going, I'm not going to buy that because it looks bad. I'm going to buy DBZ Fighters or Dragon Ball Fighters because it looks good. But you haven't played either one outside of the story mode. So that creates a problem for you because now you're judging your $60 purchase, which you value so much, based off of appearance and going, I'm going to buy this for $60, but I'm not going to buy you because I don't like the way you look. And on two games that aren't even out yet.
And that's the interesting thing that you brought up right now. Is like, what do you get if they pull the game? Like, does that make it
or the next title? Like the next title never comes out.
No. I really want this one though. Like, what if you? So what if they debuted the game and they're like, man, this game looks like shit. Looks terrible. All right, we're not making it. Cancel the IP.
Yeah.
Dude, what does the fandom get from this? Now they have power. Is like now a game doesn't exist. That game that's I bet no matter what someone still wants. Like who? Yeah, but I mean,
there's an audience. Yeah, there's always
going to be an audience.
Keep in mind the people that you hear on the internet are like, from what I've gathered, just from what I've learned, maybe 10% of people that buy games.
Right.
The people that you hear on the internet like being really loud and squawking about stuff and be like, this game looks dumb and here's why and here's 50 reasons that Mass Effect was the worst thing ever. And blah, blah, blah.
But what gets scary about that though is that when they're doing YouTube videos and you see like 100,000 views and then there's a whole bunch of likes.
That's the problem with Max Moon. He's a YouTuber who does like fighting game centric news and just content in general. Mm-hmm. He's got 500,000, but he has 500,000 because of the FGC, like subscribers. Mm-hmm. And with him and the fighting games that are released. So if you're talking shit about a fighter that's coming out, and he might have wised up to it because his tone did change to it, but if I'm talking shit about fighters and I'm going, oh, this fighting game sucks, I'm pretty much limiting my content because imagine if that game doesn't get dropped, or if I'm taking a stance that I don't like this fighter, I'm not going to produce content for it, right? So I'm going, I don't want this many views. Or I don't care about this. Right. And from a business standpoint, you better like fucking everything that's coming out, no matter what.
That's like if we did our podcast and we just said, like, here, there's 20 games coming out and they're all terrible. And we just like stared at the camera for the rest of the show.
Oh man, we should do that next episode.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't work out that way.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That's great.
And that's why I look at it and I try and bring it back to League, and I guess it probably never will be the same concept, but imagine a community that's literally attacking Riot or going after them all day, every day, just because they're like, oh, I think your game looks stupid or whatever the case is on, I don't know, League 2 that's coming out. Haven't played it yet, don't know what it plays like, and you just go, I don't like the color scheme. That was the same shit with Diablo when before Diablo came out.
Just the Diablo 3?
Diablo 3, it's too colorful. It looks like WoW. And it's like, Diablo 2 looked as fucking dark as it did because it was working off a different engine at the end of the day. Now we've got a physics engine and all this other stuff. Having this game look this bleak would I'd bleed from my eyes because I'd be like, what's the difference between getting a rare and a unique weapon? Can't even fucking tell because they're all as depressing looking.
Yeah.
Like that's that shit that's important is waiting until something drops, in my opinion. I'm not trying to speak for everybody. I'm just saying for me, like I'm going to get Marvel, I'm going to get Dragon Ball Fighters. I'm going to do it because I'm supporting the fighting game community by, sometimes my brother put it, carrying the cross for like games like Street Fighter, because at the end of the day, there's something that is fun about Street Fighter. And I love seeing it from like professional players. They shit on these games and you go, well, why are you showing up next? Why are you sponsored? And why are you showing up next week or at this fucking major to play this game you don't like that you think is boring?
Because my fucking boss told me to.
Daigo was shitting on Street Fighter 5. I'm like, then fucking don't play the game. Right. Play something else. Play King of Fighters if you feel that game is better for you. invest time into that, because at the end of the day, if you're gonna shit on literally the hand that's feeding you, you know, that's creating a bad situation from you. You have to look at it from that sort of standpoint. And to the FGC community, it seems to me like it's a very hive mind mentality. And hopefully Max has picked up on that too, where people will agree with him just because he said it. They won't do their own research on it. I don't agree with Max on all that stuff. He's like, oh, I don't like the character models. Okay, I'm still gonna fucking get it. I'm excited for the Marvel IP, or the Marvel's Capcom IP. I don't care. I'm not gonna play half the characters on Capcom side because I don't care to play them. They're not that interesting to me. Oh well, doesn't mean they fucked up or it's a catastrophic failure. You know? Or, oh my gosh, there was an article on Event Hubs, which is like a FGC related website where they go, I think it was Event Hubs, or Sure You Can, and they go, Tekken has sold more than Street Fighter did in 2 months than Street Fighter in its first year or something like that. Like, who cares? You're shitting on a game for views for yourself, but you need them to have a market, to have an audience. So what the fuck are you doing?
I don't know. I was just thinking, because it's like, it was Event Hubs, right?
I think either or. Event Hubs has been fucking terrible lately, but
yeah, I'm gonna say I feel like Event Hubs has been cannibalizing themselves for a while.
Yeah, that's actually the best way of putting it. You're cannibalizing yourself. Yeah,
so I'm honestly, that's why I just sighed, because I'm like, this has actually happened before, and they're doing it more and more now. So it's not even surprising anymore.
Well, it's like a league player,
right?
Fucking shitting on the game.
Actually,
does it make sense now?
Actually,
I'm trying to see if that happens.
It does.
It does.
Well, they're more.
I'm saying higher up. Go look higher up. Look for. I know you don't really follow the pro scene of it, but
no, I know the pro scene. I just don't.
Okay, yeah, Destiny. There you go. Same concept. All that stuff rolled in creates it. It's like weird because then I have to ask you why you play it. You know.
Same thing. League. No, I think League is usually pretty positive.
Ironically.
It's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, that's
It's gotten a lot better.
Can't tell people about code hangers and all that stuff.
On a weird note, this is kind of off topic, but I'm assuming we're wrapping down.
Yeah. I thought you said I'm suing wrapping down.
I'm suing them.
I love to hear Spencer rap.
Yeah.
Just so I can laugh.
But I was talking to some people recently, and they were talking about Overwatch, and they said that one of them didn't want to go into it because they were afraid that the community would be too harsh.
Okay.
And I was like, am I just crazy in thinking that Overwatch has one of the nicest online communities I've seen?
Final Fantasy, I think 14 is probably one of the nicest communities I've dealt with.
Yeah.
There's some people when you get higher up that are real pricks, but I can't tell you how many times I've had someone where I've fucked up because I'll play healer or I'll play tank, be like, hey, sorry about that, or whatever the case is, and people are nice to you.
Yeah, honestly, yes. As a new player, I was playing, and these new guys are these like veterans. Like they have like golden weapons. They're like wearing golden like shiny shit. Like everything's just gold. Everything's just like
It's the dream.
I don't even know how to inspect them. That's like how much of a nub I am. But I was like running with them, and they're like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey, you're doing a good job, man. But hey, use this," and like telling me how because they were like literally paragraphs on like how how the game works, how you should play, or just tips essentially.
I mean, I wasn't trying to start topic or anything.
So let's get on to it.
I'm just thinking like in my head.
Well, I'm like,
there's pricks.
When I see Overwatch, and it might just be because I'm used to other online communities like League of Legends, and I know of Call of Duty
different threshold,
and maybe I'm just like jaded by it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see Overwatch, I do not see a toxic community at all.
I'll see people that are, in my opinion, I think there's a lot of lazy people in Overwatch. And an example I mean by that is
Overwatch is made for laziness.
What do you mean?
The games are like 10 to 15 minutes.
Less
than 10 minutes.
I don't mean like that. Well, not a ranked match. Definitely not a ranked match. But
majority of the people.
I feel like this may be
super casual.
I want to hear more about that.
I mean more in the sense of like lazy in the player themselves. being like, say for instance, you're playing. Say we got a full team, got 2 tanks, 3 DPS, and then we have another guy that goes, I think we need Hanzo. He gets on Hanzo and he goes, hey, we need a healer. And he'll spam that. We need healing. We need, because when there's no healer, it goes, we need a healer instead of I need healing.
Yeah.
And they'll spam that. And it's like, well, if you're spamming it, why don't you switch to it?
Especially when you're not playing a essential member on the team.
This might be a topic though.
Yes, I'm saying.
This might be a topic,
Yeah,
but that
so we should.
I said that. I was like, why don't we just say
a
it
peak
for-
of next week.
Yeah, we'll definitely put this on the docket.
Yeah.
Look at this.
I didn't think there's
You're gonna write on this shit.
I think there's gonna be more than that. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you for watching.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We have a stream coming up.
That's Spencer.
Wait, we're doing a stream? Oh, from Sunday.
Yes.
Sunday.
Spencer,
Sunday.
Rosie, JD.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you fucking shaking your head, dude? Eric.
I like shaking my head, man. Shaking dreads.
What we'll probably end up doing is we're gonna do. Did you stop? No. What we'll end up doing is we're gonna do Sunday Fun Day. It's more than likely gonna be Overwatch for next week or for tomorrow. So it'll be great. We're all gonna fucking chill, deep throat each other and all that shit. So thanks for watching.